etc., current cost of those employees performing those jobs must be moved over to the new centralized finance office, thus reducing the budgets of these offices accordingly.
What did he say?
That was his words.
That was my understanding now.
Right.
And that's what he said, so
That's what Ben Rogers said.
that's what we're operating off of. Money, benefits, duties, everything must be moved. Now, whether employees come or not, it's another story.
So do we still work, if we go to that office, do we still work for the Board of Education, or do we work for the Central Finance Office?
Central Finance.
She'll work under the director of central finance.
So does all her benefits go with that
From what-
office?
From what
And her
I,
days?
from what I
She's not
understand,
losing days or losing sick time or annual leave or anything like that.
from what I understand, all benefits and pay come with,
But all of us don't work the same schedule. Abby works 4 days a week,
well
we
now,
work 5 days a week, so how's that gonna work in that office?
well now,
See, that'd be up to the.
now scheduling, I don't know, that we
And I
were,
don't know what Diane works if she
They
goes
were-
to that office.
they were just talking pay and benefits. They weren't,
Duties, pay, benefits.
yeah, they weren't talking any work
So
schedule.
we would stay under the Board of Education's insurance and benefits,
That's
and she'd stay under the highway department's.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
That's what I understood from Mr. Rogers.
Maybe we need to have him to come talk to us then.
I'd be glad to bring you back. I brought him in here at the last meeting to kind of lay out the framework how to do it. He did a pretty decent job, and I'd be glad to bring you back again. His main job right now, he said in the last meeting, is to put in place the 1981 Act for County County. He works for the Tennessee County.
County Technical Assistance Service.
That is his top priority this year, is to do that. Mr. Ben Rogers, and I'll give you his number if you want to talk to him.
We've got it, yeah. Ben's been great for us. One thing though too about our personnel, not only how much, of your duties, how much of that is just doing the financial one, in comparison to what you're doing, like you're doing.
Not even half.
I have a question about just budgeting as far as from a federal food service point of view. So if I'm budgeting, Teresa's my bookkeeper,
Jennifer Insell, Director of Food Service, you know.
but Teresa also works in the schools and the cafeteria with me. We do that quite frequently. We run a summer feeding program. Me and her both are running a summer feeding program. So is it right that I pay 100% of her bookkeeping salary to central finance through federal funds if she's not doing that 100% of the time? Or,
Thinking federal funds go to this
you know,
centralized.
if you have people doing different things, you know, do you split it up 50/50? I mean, I'm just wondering, because we don't want to misuse funds as far as, if I'm gonna pull her down to central finance to go work with me, 50 kids in the summer, I mean.
Because of other duties, but Teresa's duties, Teresa, how much of your duties just on bookkeeping?
Oh, yeah, we have lots of duties besides just
Right,
federal.
that's what I'm saying, I'll have to replace those.
That's just a question.
I know,
We wear multiple hats over the office, which most people do.
Well, most of us do, I understand. But unfortunately, I don't know, ma'am. That's a question that we'll have to get a higher.
We're just not bookkeepers. We do a lot more jobs.
Well,
than
yes,
just
ma'am.
bookkeeping. I'm sure as Abby does, answer phones and answer questions.
Shannon's pretty well 100% off payroll, except that she does HR duties that she has to do too. If you look at background checks, fingerprint, Darlene handles.
If y'all don't mind, if you don't have any other questions for Mr. Marks, he needs to get on the road, and I really thank you for coming. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
No problem.
Thank you,
You
sir.
know, if there's anything else, let us know.
Douglas has you on speed dial.
Oh, yeah, well, y'all been a good customer a long time. We want you to continue being a good customer. We appreciate your business. Okay? And whatever we need to do here, we're gonna take care of it. So that's the bottom line.
I didn't mean to distract us, I just want to know how the employees were.
That's what the next time our discussion.
It's a learning process for all of us.
Good questions.
This is, I think think the next portion of the meeting should, what business you want to try to cover. I understand I got the policies and procedures, we'll get that in the next. I don't think we're gonna have to work through, and that's why I've been talking scope of work, the finance director, specified tasks within that finance director, splitting the duties, purchasing, and all the different things that all these folks do. You know, I went through the initial scope, and I found looks like about 8 people that are doing budgeting for Cannon County. And then I kind of just took an average of what we actually need, and I know that this body has to have a couple of things on the wall, and that is do a finance director, but I wanted to do it as a backbone. There's a system behind the system, they can't operate without, but if we're going to move it all into one simple location, that's why I asked Mr. Marks to come, and I'm glad that he kind of showed some of the hard numbers that we're moving toward. Besides the fact that we'll have to come up with a specified pay for the individuals in charge, along with everybody else's department, things of that nature. But that's kind of the portion of this meeting that I had to bring. I think that we've got a lot of more discussion, a lot more research, and this is going to be a tough task ahead. I know it's going to bring in a lot of emotionalism and all that right there, but I'd kind of like to stay focused on what the task we need to do to move forward. So any further discussion?
Well, I mean, what we have to do, we have to figure out what policies and procedures that we're gonna go through before we do anything. And after that, then we have got to perspective about the, one that we want to run. Then you
So
got to.
you want to, so let me make sure the step process, we want to nail down the policies and procedures of how to operate, how it works before we hire an individual.
Well, don't you think that would be the best thing?
So I've read both. I've read both approaches. I've read that sometimes you might want to reach out and find somebody that's the more people that's been involved in the transition. Again, we're jumping from general law to the 1981 Act. We didn't phase this any. We didn't phase into the 57 Act. We didn't even try a private charter. We went from 0 to 60. And we need to be in the goal, at least the first step we're required to have is in place at 1 July. We got to have a director with enough money for that director to get paid. And then we got to decide on whether we want to have, now, the policies and procedures, yes, I mean, that's important, at least, when do I come to work? What is my task? Because they got to have a budget. The budget's got to be in front of them for them to at least operate on.
We gotta have a director July 1 of 19.
Yes. And we have to have the entirety of the program in place by July 1, 2020. Done, operating.
And something else,
And I'm sorry, James, but I just want to make sure you clarify, what he was saying, this money that we set up is that, in talking to Mr. Love, is that we phase that in over time. We find a place, we know where it's going to go, we make those decisions. And then 1 July, this, Genflex software with server, hardware system, laptop is in place. And then maybe September, we have the next person, the purchasing officer, in place, October, November, and that's how it's phased in over time. That's what they're trying to, the way I understood it over the phone. It's not something we have to pull the trigger on, have it all done right there in place they bought it from. They can come in, local government can phase it in over time, pull those other people out of those other offices into that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then, something you gotta think about also, if you have your finance director and they're gonna run this, do you want them to have the authority to hire their own people?
I thought he said they did have the authority to hire their own people.
Well, they do. I mean, it's just something, letting everybody think.
But you're making it sound like it's an option. That's what
Well,
I understood Ben.
Well, I I'm saying I'm giving them something to think about. And I'm just gonna be as honest as I can be. And with Mr. Curtis, whatever, I mean, if we hire a director and they choose not to go with the status quo, then there you are.
You mean, when you say status quo, you mean
The ones that are here
the
now.
ones that are here now?
I think they need to be top priority in any hiring.
Well,
You know, we have no findings, you go ahead and get us somebody in, you know, right out of whatever, that's never done this, and you're gonna have findings galore.
well, what I'm saying though, if this happens, I want everybody to know,
Right. Up
I
front.
mean, up front. I mean, I'm not like some people gonna sit back here and not say a word.
How is that fair?
Well,
It's so,
I mean,
because
I
Mr. Curtis
understand
still
y'all,
had to
and
pay
I
for
know
that
every one
office.
of you. I did not make this. The people of this county voted for this. And it's gonna be up to us to have to do what the people wanted.
Right.
But what I'm telling you, we can't promise y'all nothing. Mr. Curtis cannot promise you anything.
So does he still have to fund them offices?
Yes, uh-huh,
The budget portion of
the
that.
budget
The
portion,
budget portion of that, yes, but the other, no.
but the other not.
That's they're still
That still
responsibilities.
falls.
I have as a
with
director
y'all.
of schools, that we have those options there, yes.
Exactly.
But on the budget portion, and, you know, I don't know, Douglas, how much you use them, and I can go back, we're gonna go back and we're gonna discuss that, and see how much of this, of their jobs that they're doing now is the budget portion.
And that's smart, that's exactly what
You know,
do.
And that's what we need to do, is see how many of these, of those 4 positions are actually budgeted. I don't know,
And that's-
maybe 2.
And really technically, when you look at my office, I have really an accountant.
Right.
Or a bookkeeper.
You're probably gonna send one, because
Right, I have, because Paula, although technically we do split duties, because we're doing the entirety of the county, that both of those functions, I have, when you look at my budget line, I have bookkeeper, and I have administrative assistant, and secretary, so.
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, one would leave, the other, if the budget committee.
It's gonna be tough when I see the toughness, guys, is gonna be on personnel. Your personnel issue, same thing with Abby, having to run, you know, your personnel from that office over there instead of just the day-to-day stuff that she does. Shannon does all this stuff with insurance and things that I, and the Family Medical Leave Act, all of that stuff that's under her purview, that all of a sudden I'm gonna say, okay, go to Shannon and talk about this, I'm gonna say, you know, wait a minute, she just does the money portion of that. Now, I'm gonna have to end up doing somebody with HR experiences, which means I'm just gonna send one over there doing payroll basically, and then other doing, I've been talking with Bobby there, and Bobby Cox, the director in Warren, and he left pretty well his personnel in place. And then the county hired additional personnel at their financial management office to do this transition type thing. And they've still been transitioned, they started like 12, I think it's right, I think 12 is what I read on the report, and they've revised it every year. But that's what I found when reading the Warren County, is this thing's not etched in stone. I mean, it's changed
Exactly.
a bunch, you know, you look at every year, there's just about been changes there in Warren County, and I expect that for us too, to have the growing pains. Because, you know, but that's what I'm saying with Shannon, she knows it left and right. On the IRS stuff that I just signed last week before we left, she knows that stuff complete. And that's just one facet. I see the biggest thing, the biggest challenge is being personnel, those places.
Exactly. But, you know, like you said, I just wanted.
You'll get somebody mad quick, talk about their money and
Well,
employee.
Well, and that's why he said that would be one of the last songs.
Yeah.
To upgrade later on. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, Shannon's got 400 folks, and I watch Diane deal with, them, different people, insurance, and, I set aside and kind of watch, what's going on. It's
A lot to it,
work.
a lot
It's
to it.
work to it.
On personnel, you know, that you have to jolly.
This committee here, we have a lot of work in front of us, and we gotta be, I hope we're gonna try to be smart on how we see the organization, see where we're moving to. We've gotta put money behind some of this, and I want y'all to have all the information I have. And again, I don't have all the answers.
Have we looked at minimum, like what Jim was saying a minute ago, have you looked at minimum requirements for a finance director, or have we looked at qualifications or anything yet on?
No, see, that's where we're going back to policies.
Because that's coming July 1, that'll be quicker than me, and you're gonna be right in the middle of the budget, just like what I am, and it's gonna be tough to do all of that.
And also, I appreciate, Ben's point about the policies and procedures. I thought the policies and procedures is something that should kind of go on simultaneously with the individual that you want to put out. What are we looking for? What's their qualifications? And that way they can bring something to add if they've got some background in this, they've got some experience to help us through the policies and procedures stuff. We can give something in skeleton before we put some meat on it. I think the director, who's going to be there every day, should put a little bit of meat on policy and procedures. Just, again, that was my thought process. But again, I'm chairman, and I want y'all to have plenty of input too.
Should he be the one that's just putting a little bit of meat or putting the most of the meat? Because he or she is going to be the one that deals with it every day.
That's right, that's right. Most of the way, I agree with you. We could put a skeleton policy letter, again, I think part of the policies and procedures is defining who are we looking for? What's the qualifications? We do know what CTAS tells us. We do know what the 1981 Act is asking us to do. We do have legal. So, this body here has to decide, well, what are we looking for in the individual? We need to get it out there. We need to start interviewing. There's a process. Ben talked about that last month. There's a process on interviewing. Again, it's not easy.
Well, Brett, I mean, you're sharing information with us, which is great from my perspective. In fact, I wasn't aware of the degree of which it appears there is two positions on director first versus policy and procedure first, if I'm understanding what you've shared with us tonight. Based on your research and what you know as of this moment, do you have a firm opinion of what you believe is a better approach to you?
Well, I've talked to two different organizations that's went through this. Some have morphed through it, through the 57 Act of 81. Some have done kind of like, most of them come from a little bit more firmer structure. And they felt like that we would be more, if we lay out a skeleton of what we want, a broad, small, reaching, just define what is the person we want. That's part of policies and procedures. Who are we looking to hire? What's their background? What's their capability? What experience do they have? We've got to lay that out. Then we can bring in, well, here's 3 policies and procedures manuals we borrowed. Are those good? Or, because they may bring in, and they may bring something to their organization and to the county to help us. That was kind of what I was thinking, like Randy's. I think they should put the meeting. We can put some skeleton on it. I just don't think we have to create the entire, because we create the entirety of the policy and procedures, and we get somebody in, walks in, and we really like it, and you can knock it out of the park. We're thinking, this is really a lot of great ideas, but this don't work.
Mr. Chairman, I think too, if you do it simultaneous like that, he's gonna have a year to try to flesh it out, put the meat on the bone.
Correct.
During that time between July 1 that he's hired, or he or she that's hired, till July 1, when this thing comes into full implementation, he's starting to phase that. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know about you guys, that's what I'm seeing. He's fleshing it out as we're moving toward that ultimate goal of.
To answer Ronnie's question, I'd like to say, what are we gonna pay? Define that. What's the education level, experience level, how we gonna do that? And then we set up, how do we wanna interview, how do we wanna grade? There's a lot of things out there that we're gonna go through. We can do a decision matrix on how to grade them. We can set a scale, a weighted scale, a number scale, 1 through 5. And then we can have a board that comes up, and we can put some math on it, and we can be as objective as possible and say, yep, you turn them in sheets, and we add them up, and we can do the highest number or lowest number, however you do the decision matrix that we develop. That would help in hiring. You can kind of
said hire a finance director that's someone out of the political arena and does not have political ambitions. That means no ties. I'm a firm believer in that.
But the more knowledge and the more expertise that we can get on the front end, it's gonna take a whole lot of that weight off of our shoulders.
Yeah, this is what we have.
Yeah, what, I said, hear what Russell's saying.
Yes, but someone with more knowledge and expertise, if we go left when we should be going right, this fellow or lady could save us a whole lot of headaches and a whole lot of money.
Well, you know.
So we might ought to be working toward a director as well as on some policies as well.
Correct. And at some point, we need to determine that, like I said, we have a start date, 1 July. We need an interview timeline, you know, and I need to put out some, you know, notifications. And I have to write that up.
That's our first wall we got to climb, July 1.
I mean, and I can work on some, you know, notifications of, you know, how do you advertise for this type of job? And there may be some specific, better periodicals than just the local newspaper, you know, just like we did with the.
I think Ben said he could help us with that too.
Yeah, well, what we've learned
Help
with
us.
the contract with solid waste is there's engineering periodicals, there's engineering companies that specialize that, and you can advertise in those organizations, and they have a little bit more broader reach, you know.
Schools have the same thing, I think.
We do, we've got, listservs and other organizations like TSBA and TOS that
Right.
assist us in those.
But I mean, I like what Russell is saying, I mean, they could, you know, I don't want to say we need to hire them tomorrow.
No, no.
But I do think that, you know, we could get them, we probably couldn't put a start date on it until we budgeted for them. We can't put them in place until we can actually pay. But at least we could, and then like I say, over the course of, from 1 July, you know, they could, like I said, they'd have to bring in, okay, this is who, or if this person works within the county for this position here, they could work through that, help us through that with the policy. I mean, did that answer, Ronnie, what I'm thinking? Does that help you? Or-
Well, if I interpret what you're saying, I get the impression that you're saying that we probably need to move the director up
I
to the
think-
top notch,
Yeah.
with policy procedures being a very close sub.
Correct. Kind of,
100.
we call it a sequel, a branch to the decision. You know, the first decision is this, and then the branch off of that would be the policies and procedures.
Well, then the first thing you're going to do, then when we're looking at qualifications, that was going to be the status.
For the director.
Right. The more education, the more experience, the better off we are, which is not cost. But then again, we don't have a say-so.
So I
And
mean,
this has got to be implemented.
so if you're looking at education, I think it's pretty clear. It says baccalaureate degree with accounting experience or slash experience, whatever. I mean, that's just one part of it. If you're looking at experience, do you put down experience with the 1981 Act? And the 1981, right. So you're implementing a new system, so you need to have somebody experienced within the 1980, not somebody within, say, the 57 Act is
Totally or prefer?
preferred, yeah, exactly. Yeah, preferred experience would be with, you know, the system that we want to run in 1981. You wouldn't want somebody to say, well, I've done, you know, or the lack of the government accounting system. I mean, there is some government accounting systems that's a little different than somebody who walks out of MTSU with an accounting background. They may be similar law, but, you know, there is some things you gotta learn about the government accounting system. It's different than working for a major private accounting firm. So you wouldn't want somebody like me try to do it.
When you post jobs, what I remember, it's need a fifth grade teacher, what's the next line?
salary?
Qualifications and salaries, and then salaries listed. That's not, you do that all the time. Salary before qualifications.
Salary's not in the job.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, no, it's because,
We have a scale.
because of salary scale, you have to go by that salary scale on that.
But with this,
But it's just commensurate with, the salary's commensurate with degree. I think we got some wording like that. It's commensurate with degree. So if you've got a BS, a person with a BA or BS, and then somebody with a master's, they're gonna come in under two different salary scales. Yes, sir.
DOE,
Right, yeah, and because you got, it depends on what you've, probably the same thing with what Wayne does, something probably similar, so that more experience or something like that was probably start higher than somebody that we do act with the same
whoever's
thing.
looking at this job is gonna go, they're gonna look at this,
And they're gonna look
and
at
they're gonna
salary,
run our street or wherever it says salary.
salary, yeah, I'm like you.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the second thing they look at, and it don't matter where it's at. And we've got to post something, don't we, on salary?
Yeah, I think, you know, again, I'd have to go back and look, there is a salary scale, and we usually put in there a salary scale based on experience and experience, education, background.
But you know you don't have to do a base salary, and if somebody's not gonna qualify for this thing, if it's 25,000, they don't do it.
Yeah, well, I think,
30,000 or whatever.
I think Mr. Rogers said usually 80% of the trustees.
Right, that's a normal, that's a starting,
She's for,
sixty something.
60-something.
Yeah.
They just say 30.
Yeah, 73.
So, yeah, 80% of that.
So you'll have
You might as well say, yeah,
I-
say 60,000
I
at
had-
least.
I had 60,000 kind of as a starting reference point, and what I did the math, I think 59 and some change.
In fact, you pull up the 1920 salary schedule, you know.
Would that be a solid number, would it be depending on experience?
Well,
Is
that's
that
kind of where,
something after we, because we're gonna have to go through something too, we offer this job to whoever, we're gonna open it, with them, open it up to negotiation, because normally that's part of this too.
well, usually whenever you're in a professional environment, you know, you're trying to hire a professional, that you do have some negotiation with the salary.
I'm sure, I know I've read in some of the, we asked the job description of the finance director, but I don't think we saw any qualifications or salaries or anything on
Well,
those. So we may have to get Ben to poll
The
some of
19
these counties.
The 1981 Act itself has suggested qualifications, it's not specific. It mostly says 18, if I remember right, 18 hours of accounting, or,
Yeah.
and it kind of loosely refers to experience.
Yeah, BS and accredited college, yeah, 18 quarter hours or
So,
semester.
yeah, 18, so it says 18 hours, it doesn't say something about experience can be.
Then the next line, then that's when the next line says, person not having a bachelor's science degree or having sufficient number of hours in accounting provided that such person has at least 2 years of acceptable experience in a related position or an equivalent of other related courses.
That's just a minimum.
And the compensation of the director shall be established by the committee, subject to approval of the county legislative body. So, yeah, you're going, that's what they were saying, is that 2 years acceptable in a related position or equivalent.
It kind of gives
And that's
you-
pretty bare minimum, I'll just tell you guys, that's pretty low.
It
That's
gives
pretty,
you-
bar's pretty low right there, in my opinion.
It gives you the, kind of the, here's the high-end education, baccalaureate, whatever, here you can offset, you know, based on what your needs are. The county government isn't so intrusive where you have to hire that person, it gives you enough leeway to look at all your applicants. I think that's pretty good guidance with the legislation. It makes it a little bit tougher on us. It doesn't, but it doesn't give us an out to say, well, we would like to hire you, but, you don't meet this qualification. It forces us to do the hard decision here, really looking at the applicants hard.
We're gonna have a stipulation in it too, that they live in the county. I know you have that stipulation.
I do have that stipulation. That's part of my contract.
Something-
That's negotiable, I mean, some of that stuff was negotiable, mine was that I live in the county.
Or within a certain mile radius, I mean, you just,
They have been, Middle Tennessee Electric they require you to live within so many miles of the courthouse or the county you worked in. They couldn't meet that requirement of the county.
Nor did Metro Police reaffirm it that
Right.
they had to live in Davidson County.
But that's up to this committee on your, on
Yeah.
the stipulation of the contract, just like it was up to the board on mine.
You want the best person you can.
Right. But I'll just tell you guys, CPA for 60,000 would be a bargain if you could find a CPA for 60,000. I'm just telling you, the way the market is these days.
Yeah, and everything's not fake yet.
Understood? I tell you.
You understand?
Look how many times,
You
go
understand
by see my,
everybody.
go by see my, car parked over my lights on. You know, yeah, I've seen that one very much, so.
You know. Folks consider the package other than the check anymore.
Well, it would be with, benefits,
You put that in the contract, once you, once you put that in the contract that you have with the person. Once you decide who it is, that's the way we've been as a board, once you get your candidate, then you can sit down, and let's talk. That's hard to put that into a budget though, when you've got July 1 staring at your face and saying, wait a minute, we negotiated, this is what we're gonna have to put in. And it may be with this, 60,000 is just your salary, then you look at your benefits and days off and annual leave and all of that, and insurance and all of that, it's gonna be on up there knocking 100 by the time it's all said and done.
well, we could say
At least,
like-
at least 90.
Well, I just think that whenever you're doing this, probably the toughest task will be that. I mean, I think the policies and procedures, I think that's not something we can, look and borrow and rename, and, people do that the organizations do that all the time, and we need to tweak it for county. The hard part is finding the right fit.
His is part of this, his,
I think that's the tough part of this committee
I
here.
just had one, it's just what mine probably was. Everybody I've talked to of other directors of schools has said, the most important decision you will make, Freddie, as a member of this committee is who y'all hire as your financial director. That's the most important decision you will make. Whether I vote for Wayne Bulldozer or not, it's not as important as what you do
Right.
as that right there. It's the most important decision we will make, is the financial director.
Because they're gonna be backbone of the county.
It may be a blessing or a curse, that's for sure.
And this committee will stay in place every year with new commissioners, probably. Us three are part of it permanently. And again, we can reaffirm commissioners, I'm just saying, though, it has to be put in place every year, and then you can have, like you said, the budget committee off from this committee, and investment committee, there's several different things, again, we run it. But once the director of finance is in place, that director can help us organize and set up the budget committee meetings and things of that nature. Provide us a little bit more budgetary finality and help the county down the road. It is tough to get right, so I'm not gonna deny that.
I think, Mr. Chairman, it's very similar to what Douglas does for me, is that we're running the day-to-day operations of the school system, but then when it comes budget time, it's essential for him to assist in the budget creation, of doing the numbers that are changing consistent, especially when you're dealing with the state, and what the state's doing with all those budget figures. I'm just saying, it is, just like this one, just reading through the manuals, is that budget component is going, we talk about we're simultaneous, this budget is going along as well as the day-to-day operation too, at the same time for that individual.
Well, the way, there's three basic major players, I guess. I'm not counting Hilda. Hilda, I guess she manages roughly $2 million. You split the jail between $1 million, deal, you know, the sheriff's department, highway department, I'm not exactly sure how much y'all manage on a yearly basis, budget wise.
Hit her on. You take our state money and our bridge money, probably around $750,000.
So you're knocking at the $1 million budget. Y'all have, schools have roughly a $15.
Right, $15, $16 million budget.
We have roughly a $5.5, almost $6 million budget. So the scope, the directors, you see what the numbers put on it. They've got to manage all three of those larger budgets. So that puts them 20 plus $20 million in a year. That's a pretty good and hefty workload. And that's what you got to kind of, when you're interviewing somebody, you got to tell them, this is what you're responsible for. This is all the different departments you're managing, and of course, they'll have help. But we have to have that out for them, and know what they're kind of signed up for.
So are we looking at the consensus that when we get this other information from these other counties, that Dan, you were looking at, that we discussed the qualifications on our RE?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep. Remember, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, we came right back and had this meeting. I guess the question is, when do y'all want to set the next meeting? In my mind, and then the taskers are, is to have a little bit more policies and we can look at structure-wise, we can lay them out, and actually, I think we ought to have a qualifications, at least a job, define what the job's gonna be. In my mind, that can kind of go on at the same time to the next meeting. I think so, I can have some rough around. I think I knew we, I have a meeting on the 5th concerning the schools, school routes.
That's right, that's on the 5th.
On the field. That's another project that we're in, basically working with different bond funding to borrow that money. Y'all put the date up there.
Was that next commission meeting?
Seven.
7.
Two weeks before.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to be in Nashville, and in fact, I'm going to have to come back. I'm going to have to come back on the 5th for that special meeting. This is a special meeting. I'm at the new Superintendent Academy on Sunday and Monday, and Tuesday and Wednesday is with the TOS Legislative, and that's a pretty important meeting for me to be at with the legislature.
What about the 11th, the following? It's a Monday night, the 11th.
Go back and check.
The 18th is President's Day.
Let's issue for the 11th.
Shoot for the 11th, 5:30.
Mr. Kirk?
I'm looking, I'm good. The 12th, we have a school board workshop, so I'm good on the 11th. Yeah, Monday nights are always better for me because your workshop's on Tuesday and board meeting on Thursday, that second week.
That's why I'm
So
trying to
yes, sir.
stick to Monday.
Yeah, and y'all's is Thursday, that first Thursday, so, but yeah, I'm good.
All right,
on the- on
let's
the
schedule the next meeting, and like I said, if y'all allow me, I'll send out, if I can get together, I'll send out some rough drafts through email. If not, I'll present them in paper copy on the, I have a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to recess.
You want to recess?
And I'm assuming that's at 5:30 on the 11th, correct?
Ian, be here.
I'd like to have it back, yeah, I'd like to have it back.
Yeah,
Can we do that?
For some of these questions.
Yeah, and I'll bring y'all back on the 11th, and we'll talk to Ben directly.